In today's video, I'm going to be unboxing my Bespoke Gaziano Girling black cap-toe Oxford trial shoes. I'm Kirby Allison, and I love helping the well-dressed acquire and care for their wardrobes. Join me as we explore the world of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition. Today is a very exciting day. We've arrived to the point that I finally have my wearable trial shoes from Gaziano Girling. For those that have been following along this process, there's no question that Daniel Wegan, who was the 2019 World Championship in Shoemaking, has one of the most precise and exacting bespoke processes of any of the makers that I've seen. I've had 3 fittings for this shoe where he's done a trial shoe and then cut it up to kind of see exactly how the last is mimicking the foot and how the shoe is fitting and how it's reacting and whether or not the creasing is in the right place. And it's all working towards arriving to this point where he then makes a wearable trial shoe. Now, the purpose of the wearable trial shoe really is that final point of validation, just to ensure that everything is perfect and correct about the shoe and the last before he goes on to make the actual finished shoe. And it's a really ethical way of doing his work because it ensures that by the time you get your first shoe from Dan and from Gaziano Girling, it absolutely is going to fit perfectly. There should be no adjustments, if not only minor adjustments, that need to be made to that first pair. So here we are. Let's open this box and see what's inside. I can smell the shoes and the leather right here, so let's see. So this is not the full kind of bespoke packaging. As I described earlier, these are effectively throwaway shoes. These are meant to be worn for a few days and validate everything about how the shoes fit. And Dan says if they fit great and no adjustments need to be made, then you can throw them away and they'll go straight to finish on the final pair. Or if it's pressing anywhere, if there's anything that feels like it's a little bit off, then you would take these to see Dan and he would cut them up and do one last fitting to finish any adjustments that need to be made to the last. So look at these shoes, absolutely beautiful. So these are made just with a simple, kind of rubber bottom. They're meant to be worn outside. So the idea is that, you wear these shoes. They're not welted. I mean, it's just, a trial shoe that ultimately is just reproducing kind of all of the structure of the finished shoe. And so a lot of the elements of the final shoe are showcased here. A beautiful kind of soft square toe. I mean, this is very much kind of a Gaziano Girling toe. The apprentices from Gaziano make these shoes, so it's a great way for them to practice too. But this is, this honestly is an absolutely beautiful shoe. So one of the things that I love, and you can't see this, but I'll try to show it to you, and this is very unique to Daniel. He's, I think, the only bespoke shoemaker that I've seen put this much structure into his shoes. So you can see, I mean, just look at the way this curves, but look at how this hard countering, really goes all the way down to the flex point of the vamp. Here on the side, again, this is the arch, and again, look how, look at all this hard countering. I mean, incredible support, that you get here. And so what Dan is able to do that really is in a lot of ways magic is he's able to produce a beautiful bespoke shoe that offers a phenomenal amount of support to make it comfortable, while still not feeling stiff. So one of the things that, I mean, again, is amazing about Dan is just look at the shape that he works into these shoes. I mean, I don't know if you can see this, but I mean, look at how this goes up and then, pitches in. I mean, there is shape to this shoe that, honestly is amazing. And so it's one of the reasons that Daniel is fast becoming known as one of the best fitters, probably of many, or if not all, of the bespoke shoemakers. And it's this level of commitment to the process and to the craftsmanship and to the details that certainly is the reason that he went on to win the 2019 World Championship in Shoemaking, which in its second year is an incredibly competitive contest. But without any further ado, let's try these babies on and see how they fit. So here we are, my beautiful Gaziano Girling Bespoke black cap-toe Oxfords. Let's see how these fit. You know, there's a reason the black cap-toe Oxford is such a classic shoe. I mean, it is probably, you know, the pinnacle of elegance in terms of formal dress shoes are concerned. And it's for this reason that all of my bespoke shoes now, with the new maker, the first pair I want them to make for me is a black cap-toe Oxford, because it's in many ways the purest expression of a formal dress shoe. And it's also interesting to see how different shoemakers, different artisans interpret the black cap-toe Oxfords. So it's going to be interesting one day whenever I've got black cap-toe Oxfords from 4 or 5 different bespoke shoemakers to sit down and see how each of them interprets this classic. So these shoes are made by the Gaziano Girling apprentices. They're made, you know, really they're made using the same bespoke last as the final shoe. You know, the uppers are sewn together the same. I mean, the only difference is it's not welted. It has a rubber sole, but really everything else about the shoe is the same as the final. And the reason is because, you know, they really want this shoe to represent what that final shoe is going to fit like before they go ahead and make it. It's got all of the structure and hard countering that the final shoe is going to have. And so, you know, putting this on is definitely, wow. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that, you know, whenever I put this on, you know, you hear a little psst. It's the rush of air being pushed out of the shoe whenever you put it on. And, you know, that really is the hallmark of a great bespoke shoe. I mean, it fits so well that whenever you put your foot into it, the air has to push around the foot in order to get out. Let's see if we can hear that again. All right, so that's the first one. Now, another thing to remember, you know, with bespoke shoes, and really this is any pair of shoes, is that whenever you're putting it on, you know, you should loosen the laces. And the reason is that if a shoe fits properly, it fits tightly. And so for that reason, you want to loosen the laces as much as possible to allow you to easily slip your foot inside without damaging the shoe. Always use a shoehorn because otherwise you're going to collapse the back of the shoe. Wow. So let's tighten these babies up. The Parisian knot, of course. I'm wearing a pair of our Sovereign grade dress socks. Beautiful dress socks we have knitted for us in Rome. Wow, so, you know, these shoes, you know, I describe them as fitting tightly, but that really in some ways maybe misrepresents them. It's not that they're tight or uncomfortable. It's that they fit snug with no extra, you know, space. I mean, whenever I wiggle, you know, my toes, you can see that the entire shoe wiggles with it. You know, there's no kind of excess, you know, leather right here or space. You know, they fit, you know, perfectly to the width. And the absence of extra leather or extra space is one of the things that helps control and eliminate unsightly creasing. You know, I mean, this shoe fits like a suit of armor. I mean, this is really incredible, the amount of structure. I mean, look at how beautiful these sit. I mean, and there is absolutely no wrinkling whenever I'm standing in these. And I have to say that the, you know, the instep and the arch are perfectly supported. I don't think I've ever had a pair of shoes with this much arch support. I mean, you can really just feel it because there's so much hard countering there. It really supports it. It's not collapsing. The shoe's not collapsing at all. And then the other thing that Daniel did, which he's the first shoemaker that I've ever seen do this before, is I've always had trouble with just a high instep right here. Towards the end of the day, I've got a really pronounced bone, you know, right here that, you know, those laces sitting on top of it, you know, towards the end of the day gets really, really uncomfortable, if not painful. Now, one of the ways to counter that is building that area up just so that the shoe kind of flows around it. But what Daniel's actually done is he's added 1 or 2 millimeters of foam padding to the underside of the tongue just to provide a little bit of additional cushion to buffer any type of discomfort that might cause. So the shoes fit great. I mean, I don't, on first glance, think that there's anything I would change, but the purpose of this shoe really is to be able to walk about in it for a few days, maybe a week. Because it's only once you've spent all day in a pair of shoes and really, gone through your normal routine of maybe walking to school or just walking about as you normally do, that you inevitably feel whether or not the shoe fits perfectly. And what you're looking for, is there any kind of small abrasion, or is there any type of small pinching that maybe you wouldn't feel if you just put the shoes on, for a few minutes, but throughout the course of the day might be uncomfortable. And it's those small little details that normally aren't corrected until a second or third pair of shoes. And with Daniel's approach, he really seeks to eliminate that before you even get to that first finished pair. So absolutely incredible shoe. I mean, it's amazing, and I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed wearing them and how much I look forward to actually wearing them for an entire day, wearing them out. I may actually take these out tonight just to be able to wear them now. We have an extensive series of videos, actually detailing the entire Bespoke process for these shoes. Check the description of this video for links to all those. If you haven't seen them, I absolutely encourage you to watch them. You can see Daniel taking my measurements. You can see my first and second fitting. And then finally, we've got the trial shoe here. I'll report back to you in a few days and let you know how these break in and what they feel like. And I really look forward to just having Dan actually finish the shoes so that I can, really wear these beautiful babies. I'm Kirby Allison, and I love to help the well-dressed acquire and care for their wardrobes while exploring the world of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition. Thanks for joining me.